Hi everyone, welcome to day 44 of my 50 days SQL challenge series where I solve data analyst and business analyst interview question for SQL. Today we'll be solving one of the recent data analyst interview question that was asked to one of my subscriber. So here is the question. You are given a table of New York housing price called house transactions with the columns ID, state, city, street address and market price. Identify the properties where market price of house exceeds the city's average market price. Now let's see the data that we have. You can see we have ID, we have state, we have basically city, we have street address and the market price. So we need to find out each record and their basically city and whatever their city's average. If this house price is greater than their city's average price, we need to find those records. So let's start writing a query to solve this question. So I'm going to select all the columns saying ID and then I'm going to select basically state and I'm going to basically select city. Okay, and I'm just going to select call MKT price. Okay. I don't need the address for now. Okay, so I have selected all these basically columns. Now I can just run this query. It's going to basically give me all this column. Basically I'm getting all the record which we have 48 records. So what we need basically, we need only those record where this price is basically greater than their city's average price. Now basically this record, you can see this record belongs to city called New York. So New York City's average price. Now we need only this record if in case this price is basically greater than the New York City's average price. So basically what we need to basically do here is that we can use another subquery to say select AVG, which means average price. Okay, now MKT, that is market price. So I'm saying average market price, okay, from this table which is housing price. Okay, so I'm just saying from this housing price where city equals New York City. Okay, so basically this is going to tell me the New York City's average price. If I just run this query, so you can see the New York City's average price is this, which is basically 279k. So this is the average price. Now I can just basically I can use a where conditions here. Okay, I'm just going to use a where, and I am going to say where market price is basically greater than this one, which is 279617. Okay, 279617. Now this is going to only work for the record which are in the New York. So let me just print the table again. Now you can see we have different city records, basically Chicago and New York and other city. So basically this will only work for the, if the city is New York, then basically it's going to check, okay, if this price is basically greater than the New York average price, no, so it's not going to select it, but it's going to select this one because this is greater than New York City's average price, which is basically 27961. This is how it's going to work. Now the point is that how do I find out for each record, how do I find out their city's average price, right? I can basically, if in case I use this query here as a subquery, now I can just use this query as a subquery here to see that the average price of that particular. Okay, let me just organize this query so that I can explain. Okay, let me just organize it so that I can explain. So this subquery is going to basically select the average price for a specific city, which is New York, and this outer query is going to basically get me all those data where the market price is basically greater than New York City's average price. So this will work for the record where the city is set as a New York. Now what about the rest of the city where the city is set as basically Los Angeles or basically Chicago or other city, right? So basically we need to keep on changing this so that we get basically the right answer for basically the rest of the records. Now to solve this basically problems, we can use something called correlated subquery. So let's see how we can use a correlated subquery. So I'm just going to give this table as H1, okay, and this table as H2. Okay, then we will basically build some relationship between them, because see, for each, the problem is that for each record we need to find out their city's name and we need to find out their city's average, right? Now what you can do is basically, if in case we select this basically data, you can see all this data I'm getting from H1. Okay, so I'm just going to say H1 of ID and I'm going to say H1 of state. Okay, I'm going to say basically H1 of city and I'm going to say basically H1 of market price. So till the time it's very simple, I'm getting everything from this table which is H1. Now here I'm saying H1 of market price has to be greater than some value. So here in the subquery I need to find basically whatever this record belongs to. For that record, whatever the city name, and for that city name we need to find out the average market price. Now what I can do is basically here I can say that select average market price. Now here I'm getting this from H2, so I'm saying H2 market price. So basically from this table, now I'm saying city, which is basically H2 dot city equals Newark. Now instead of Newark, what I can basically do here is basically I can say that this column, which is basically H1 of city. Okay, now let's see what will happen. Now to complete this whole query, as soon as I run this whole query, SQL is going to say, okay, there is a subquery. So SQL is going to run this query first. Now as soon as SQL run this query, so it's going to say that select average price from the housing price, which is basically our table name, which is H2, and where this H2 city equals Newark, which was earlier. Now here it gets something called H1 city. Now to find this H1 city, it knows that there is a table called H1, which is this table. Now it will basically go outside of this query and it will basically check, hey, what is the H1 city name? Now we are in the first record. Okay, now this H1 city name would be basically this one, which is Newark. Then it is going to print Newark here, and then basically this query is going to return a result. Now this query is going to return a result for the Newark city's average price, which is whatever, it's 271k, something like that. And then basically it is going to complete the outer query one row. Now if in case this record, which is the first record, is basically higher than the Newark city's price, then it's going to basically select that. If in case that is basically lower, basically you can see the sign here, right? If that is lower, then it is going to ignore it. It's not going to print that record. Now it will basically move to the second record. So it's going to do the same thing. Now for example, when we will move to another record, basically different cities, basically for Los Angeles. Now here it's going to print the city name here as a Los Angeles for that particular record. Now this query is going to find the average price for Los Angeles. Now this outer query is going to check, okay, select me all everything if in case this market price of that particular record is higher than this Los Angeles average price. If that's the case, then it's going to select that record. Otherwise it's going to move on to the next row. So this is how this query is going to select all the record where they have market price which is greater than their city's average price. Now let's just run the query. Let's see. Now you can see we are getting this record I'm getting, which is from Newark. I'm getting 3 records because they have, this is the price. Now if in case you want to verify it, we can just go ahead and run it outside here, and I can just go ahead and say that where this city I can just set it as like Newark city. Okay, let's just run this query and let's just see what happens. So you can see Newark city's average price, which is mentioned here, 279k. So that means this is the average price for Newark city. Now let's just verify it. Let's see, we are getting some records. Let's see. Now this is the record. You can see we are getting the average price, which is 449k, and this one also 279k, and this one is also 2624k. So all this price are basically higher than their city's average price. Now let's just quickly verify for something else, maybe for Chicago. Let's see what is the Chicago's average price. It's going to be Chicago. So let's just see Chicago's average price. So the Chicago's average price is, which is this one, 294k. So I'm just going to write it call here, 294k. So this is the average price for Chicago. Now let's just see if in case whatever the record I am getting, if they have the price which is greater than Chicago's average price. Now let's just verify for the Chicago. You can see we are getting all these records where the price which is basically greater than Chicago's average price, which is 294k. Now I can see for this property price is basically 410k, this one 464, 296, which is still greater than 294. Now you can see all the records, right? So this is how you can verify for all the states, but definitely this is going to give you the right result. So that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. Now I have a quick SQL challenge for you. Let me show you the challenge. Your task is that write a SQL query to find the property that has a market price which is greater than the average city's average price but less than national average price. So you can write your query in the comment box, and you can download this data by going into video descriptions. I have added my GitHub link. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. If you really like my content, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a good day. Take care.